Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now I got some monumental news. And this news is very important, guys. It's little things that go on, and a lot of times, when people do stuff, right, commit crimes and stuff, some people aren't held accountable, right? And it gets to the point where they get away with stuff so much that when someone even thinks about holding them accountable, they get all irked and upset and offended, right? Like, we're supposed to be able to commit crimes, right? We're supposed to be able to have injustices or do other people wrong, and nothing's supposed to happen to us. But that other guy who did this, what are you guys not talking about him for? So there's a lot of that going on right now in society, and especially in New Russia, right? So here's something that's good for boxing right now. We know we have the big fight with Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez coming up in a few days here. Now, traditionally, you have when the winner of a boxing match, then you see the WBC president, Mauricio Sulaiman, come in and give him the WBC belt over the shoulder and shake his hand and whatever. So this is like a tradition. The WBC belt is a very traditional belt, actually. It's probably the most significant from the four significant belts, which would be the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO, with the WBC together. Now, be that as it may, right now, there's a little conflict. The Ring magazine, owned by Turki Al-Ashi, the man with the money, and Dana White is also doing a lot of promotion here from the UFC. They're saying that it's going to be too much security for this fight. They don't need him to come in the ring and do that little traditional thing. Now, normally that's what you would think this is about. I don't think that's what this is about. This is about the Ring magazine trying to basically say, you know what, we're going to make the Ring magazine belt the one that counts here. All these four sanctioning bodies, you guys had the ball in your court, and you just been dropping it constantly, doing a lot of things that are highly questionable. And that's a good word we're using today. Questionable, right? I'm going to get to one in a minute. And I think that's why just take your significance away. It's a slow process because traditionally people think the belts are important. And, as a fighter, you have 4 opportunities to become champion. That's pretty good when you think about it. You start as a kid and you want to become a champion in one belt. Now you have 4 belts now that you can become a champion, right? And then they even made other belts. Some people think they're a champion if they're interim or gold or regular, all that stuff they made, or global, right? But the 4 champions, the main belts, are 4 belts. And that's better than it was back in the day when there was only 1 champion. And that's what they're trying to do with the Ring magazine and Turki Al-Ashi with Riyadh season. 1 champion per divisions. Seeing as though we have 17 divisions, that's not too outlandish. Really, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what they're trying to do. And I think this is a little power thing going on with them. Now, Mauricio Sulaiman, y'all know how I think. I wouldn't even allow him to my fights. Right? You've done enough things that are not worse than questionable. Here's one of them. His belt is so significant and traditional, the WBC belt, right? What was that now, 4 years ago? You guys remember that franchise title? Canelo Alvarez had to fight Jamal Charlo at 160 pounds. Canelo was a champion. Jamal Charlo was dominated at 154 pounds, moves up to 160, and has 3 interim fights. 1 eliminator, 2 interims, or vice versa. And they kept telling him he was going to get Canelo, and they didn't when he kept winning those fights. So what they had to do is come up with something. Mauricio Sulaiman allowed Canelo he came up with something called franchise title. And remember, he could not even define what it was, right? He couldn't. He was just coming up with stuff. So Canelo had this franchise title, and then they gave your boy Charlo the real belt. But what they did is try to act like the real belt wasn't significant, right? And then Charlo said, well, listen, let me fight for that new stuff you kind of trying to make significant. No, you can't fight for it. right? Canelo, we're just giving it to him and calling him more significant than you. Our normal belt that we've been having for 100 years don't mean nothing now because we done made up something for Canelo to not fight you. And it's not transferable. So they said, oh, that went. The boxing community goes with this ridiculousness. So, hey, we got another issue down here with Devin Haney as the mandatory for Lomachenko, who we like. So, Devin Haney, you can't fight Lomachenko. We're giving him the franchise title. Your real WBC belt doesn't mean nothing, and it's not transferable. You can't fight Lomachenko for that franchise title. Oh, but Teofimo Lopez, who he likes, then it's transferable. They did this in daylight, and y'all wonder why I got shades on? They blinded me with this ridiculousness, right? So that's what happens in daylight. So WBC belt wasn't significant. They were calling the guys who got it email champions, not the ones who got the franchise title per email, the ones who have the real traditional belt. So damn it, it's not traditional, right? So why is it traditional now? Why does he have to walk in the ring and act like it's traditional when you created the franchise title? That's where this is going. So bring the franchise title somewhere and see if anybody wants it. It's probably laying in the trash somewhere. A relic that nobody wants unless, we need another guy that's not of color to save him from somebody. We'll pull it back out and dust it off. Bottom line, he doesn't deserve to be nowhere. To somebody who does something that egregious in daylight, it's coming back to bite you. And I hope he's not allowed there because that's only that. We didn't even get into nothing about doping. Nothing. We'll do that if you come in here in the comment section talking some smack. Bottom line is this. Franchise title, you made it more significant than this real belt, the WBC, but some brothers had it, and you were having people run away from them, right? So now your traditional belt, ain't nobody care about it. You can't go in the ring. I think that's correct. What do you guys think? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. I don't care what happens to Southern Man. And I'm up out of here, y'all.